How's everybody doing? Welcome to my channel. My name is Wizzy Pacheco. Oh man, this is alright. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this video, man. I just did about like a little over 40 kilometers of cycling. That's how much I'll usually do like 40 and then some a little bit of calisthenics workout. So I just got home from training, from doing some cycling, and I want to go ahead and make this video because oh man, I just got this crazy epiphany. So I want to go ahead and talk about it. So so basically these last couple of these last like 20 days or so, I've been on calorie restriction, and I've been doing a little bit of fasting and just different techniques to try to lose weight, right? To try to, get shredded. So, it's been how do you say it? It's been a cool experience. But then like something just weird happened. So first of all, like the title of the video is don't ever give up on yourself. Life is a weird dream, and it's just a dream. So that's the title of the video. So like I was saying, right, I was I did this I've been what do you call it? I've been on this calorie restriction and all these for these past about 20 days or so. And so it's been a really cool experience. But then so for this past day and a half, I've I don't know, it's kind of weird. That's what I'm saying. Life is weird. So I kind of decided to just stay at home and sleep, because even my sleep has gotten fucked up. Like there is, oh man, like whenever I do this, whenever I for these past couple of like these 20 days or so, I haven't really slept that much, because like whenever I get on a calorie restriction, like my sleep just gets all fucked up. So I've gotten, I could probably say that I'll get some sleep probably like every like 48 or 72 hours. Like my sleep has gotten real fucked up during this last I guess you could say cut that I've been trying to cut some weight, right? And and I've gotten some pretty cool results. So I can say that. And so the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that for these past 2 days, I've been I don't know, I got this thing where I basically just stayed in and got like sleep and ate. And then today I got on a scale, and oh man, I was heavy as fuck. Like it's only been like 2 days of not training, or like a day and a half of not training and like eating, but I haven't ate a lot. I've kind of been eating. And today I hopped on a scale, and it was just, oh man, I've gained I don't know what, I don't think, like I don't feel like, it's weird. That's what I mean. Like life is fucking weird. So anyhow, I know that once I start doing whatever I do, I'm sure that I'll cut all that, I'll have like a huge dump and get rid of all that weight. But anyhow, what I want to go to is that so I was just thinking, so I'm riding my bike, right? And I'm thinking about like different things, like how, okay, so I want to share this story about this one guy that so then over here in Colombia, because I live in Colombia, I'm Colombian. So there's this thing that whenever you graduate from high school, you have to, by law, either go to the army or go to like a police academy, unless you like do all this paperwork and all this and all that. But that's what most people do, right? So whenever they graduate from high school, most men, they just go to the army and then pay their service or whatever that's mandatory by the government. Or then other people would just go to like a police academy or whatever. So then I don't want to go into details, because that's exactly what I mean. Like life is just fucking strange, and we all go through, like I've gone through, and then you hear other people's stories, and it's like, damn, like we all go through just fucking just crazy shit. And I just thought about something, because then I was recently in this I guess you could say this sentimental is what I call it, romantic whatever relationship with this particular person. And I remember that one time there was this post that said that life is kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna use the exact words, but it kind of like, it was saying that life is like, imagine that you have a cookie and you're hungry or whatever, so you go ahead and you dip the cookie into the hot chocolate or coffee and then you let it sit there to how do you say it, get to become soft, right? And then, oh shit, 15% battery. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get this video over. So you dip the cookie inside the hot coffee or the hot chocolate or whatever to get it to become smoother or whatever. And then as soon as you're about to take a bite of it, like the thing just shatters and fucking the cookie goes all over the place. It was a post, and then she had it on her thing. And that's kind of how life is like, man. Life is fucking strange. It's like, it's like you dip the cookie into the coffee and then you're about to take the bite in and it just fucking shatters all over. Like, that's a good analogy to explain somehow, like, it's just a strange fucking dream. But anyhow, so what I want to go to, so go ahead and end the video before it runs, that battery runs out. So what I want to say, like the title of the video is don't ever give up on yourself, man, no matter how hard the journey gets, because I think we all go through it, and that's just how it was meant to be. Like, there wouldn't really be a happiness unless we knew what it was to be like bored, or because happiness, like sadness, isn't the opposite. Like, I've learned that from Cole. I think that actually boredom is the opposite of happiness. But that's what I mean, right? Like the opposite sides, like everything, like the yin and the yang. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just shit was just meant to be. I guess it was meant to be rough. But like I said, like the title of the video is no matter how tough or, whatever, we should never give up on ourselves. Because that's the thing, is that sometimes it seems like people just give up on themselves. Because I don't know, so that's exactly the story that I want to talk about. So then there is this, so I don't want to go into details, because like, this is shit that I don't even like to talk about. Like, like, exactly, I don't want to go into details. Just shit that happens in life, man, that's like fucked up. And then like forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is just not worrying about or not suffering for whatever happened, because we all go through fucked up shit. And so that's what we do, right? It's like, and that's another long discussion, is what forgiveness, like the ultimate sort of forgiveness is to forgive ourselves, because we're all fucking hurt. But anyhow, so as I was saying, so then there's this guy, right, that I'm not gonna go into details, that I met him, and then he told me his story, how he graduated from high school and then he went to the army, and then I guess the dude was a really good soldier, so he got to do all these like special courses. Like, I forgot exactly what the dude did, but he did like a bunch of whatever type of courses that they do in the army. And then so the guy, I'm talking about here in Colombia, right? So then the Colombian army. So then of course, how there's this situation in Colombia where the narcotic trade or whatever. So then the Colombian army is always at war with the guerrillas, right? And then that's another long story. So anyhow, the dude's in the army, right? And then he's like out in the woods, and then I just remember that the one time that he told me that he got rewarded for killing a guerrilla guy. It's a fucked up game, man. It's like cat and mouse, right? So the guy also told me that he ended up clapping this guy from the guerrilla, right? So then the guy clapped him, and he got an award. He got they get awarded for, because that's how it is whenever you're in the army. and then if you end up murking your enemy, you get awarded for it. So then he told me that, and then hello, yeah. And then the other thing was that so then a guy, oh shit, cause I'm riding around, man. I think I'm gonna go to sleep, but I want to finish the video before I go to sleep. So anyhow, the guy was the guy killed the other gorilla dude, and got an award for it, or got a gift, or whatever the fuck you call it. So anyhow, what I want to go to is the guy had graduated from high school, and then he went out into the woods, he was in the army, and then they found this illegal lab, right, where they of course they make the production of different sort of in this case it was heroin, and I think there was also cocaine base. But then the guy tells me how they clapped all those people or whatever, and then I guess he clapped one, or whatever, he killed a gorilla guy. And then he took his weapon, because that's how you claim the prize. Some shit. It's funny. So anyhow, so then, because the dudes were the army guy, they were out in the woods, and they found this laboratory, and then they ended up killing a whole bunch of gorilla people. And then a guy, of course, because it was a laboratory, he saw a bunch of this powder, right? Like a fucking bricks. Like there was just shit was just thrown all over the place. So then a guy grabbed I guess a brick or whatever the shit. He wasn't even sure what it was. And then he grabbed like this big fucking amount of it, like I guess like a kilo or whatever, and then it was heroin. And then a guy had never tried it before. It was the first time he had ever done it. So then a guy ended up becoming hooked to this shit. So since he had so much of it, I guess I don't know how long it lasted him, but I guess shit, we're talking about a fucking bunch. I mean, this is like a shitload. This guy ended up grabbing like a kilo of heroin, ended up fucking doing all of it, and so the guy became hooked on it, right? So then that was one story, and then the same guy also tells me how he left the army, and then he ended up working for this. He got a security job, and then after he got this security job, he ended up He ended up leaving the army or whatever, doing his service. And then he came out to the city again, right? He was out on the street, and then he got hired by this security guard company, and then somehow he got offered to do a hit. And then I'm not gonna go into details, but anyway, the guy was telling me how they did the hit, and then they used like all these fucking flame torches to open up the metal doors and all this and all that, and then it seems to me that like the dude did all sorts of shit and ended up giving up on himself, right? On himself. That's kind of what it seems to me, is that, like the guy was like, I've had a great experience, but kind of like he just gave up on himself. And then this other guy, that brings me, I'm going to end the video, I'm going to say another story. And then there's this other story, and then there's this other thing that I remember, that this one guy, how he but this was an older guy, like the guy, the army guy story it's a guy that's almost like my age. I think he was born on the army guy I'm pretty sure he was born on the same year I was born, so we're both the same age. But then there's this other guy, right, that this older guy, this guy's probably like 90 years old at this moment. So he was telling me a story about his father. So then I'm just gonna throw it out there real quick. So then he was telling me how his father basically fucking worked his ass off during his whole life, and then he was able to gather money to buy this big ass piece of land. And then so the guy, whatever, worked his whole life, and then he had this big farm, and then some other guy offered him a whole bunch of money for his farm, and then he ended up selling it to him, and then the guy that sold him the guy that bought the farm. So some guy bought the farm from the guy, right? The guy had worked his whole life to buy this really huge farm, and then some other guy ended up offering him money to buy his farm. So then the guy ended up selling his own farm to the guy, but then the guy that offered him the money and the guy that gave him the money actually ended up robbing him somehow, and then the guy tells me that the other people warned him and told him not to sell it because there was a high chance that the person that was trying to sell him, that was trying to buy the land off him, would probably rob him. And the guy didn't believe the people that were telling him, and he sold it anyway. And the guy that was trying to purchase the land ended up stealing, robbing him. It was like how do you call it, like a scam? I don't know how, so basically the guy explained it to me. I forgot exactly how it was though. So the guy ended up selling his land, and he actually got robbed by the guy that was buying it from him. Somehow, like they did like a trick on him. Like they tricked him and they gave him the money, and then they took it back. So then the guy was it's a fucked up situation. He lost basically everything that he had worked for during his whole life. So then the guy tells me that, he was talking about his own father. He's like, oh yeah, my dad was a beast or whatever. And then he tells me how his own dad was trying to get back into was trying to make money again, and then he ended up selling charcoal. So I guess the guy would go out to the woods, chop a bunch of trees and then burn them and then sell the charcoal or whatever. So then the guy started doing that, and the guy tells me that his father was starting to make crazy money again just off of the charcoal. And then the guy tells me how just one day all of a sudden he was out there chopping his trees. So the guy was out there chopping his trees, making his money, and then the guy ended up chopping. Yo, Ru, ¿dónde está Ru? Yo voy a sonreírle a la cabeza. Yo, Ru, sí. Alright, so let me go ahead and finish the story. So I think I'm gonna go to sleep. So anyway, the guy was oh shit. The guy was yeah, sorry about that. The guy was, he was out in the woods chopping his trees, trying to get back on, trying to get his money right again. And then a guy fucking ended up chopping off his own leg. I'm not sure if it was his foot or his or half of his leg, but the guy chopped off it was the guy either chopped off his own foot or his leg or something. And then he tells me how they were trying to keep him alive, and they would put coffee. Yeah, they would put coffee on his wound to try to get him to stop bleeding. But then the guy stayed alive for a couple hours, but then the guy just ended up bleeding to death since he was chopping his like I said, the guy fucking, it's a fucked up story. So then that, I just thought of that, and that's what it seems to me, man. It seems that, people go through, like I've gone through some pretty crazy shit. So it's like people go through all these, I don't know, how do you say it, trials and tribulations, and then they just end up giving up on themselves. Because life is fucking strange, man. There's this part on the I think it's in A Mastery of Love or The Fifth Agreement, and I'm not sure how Miguel Ruiz explains it, but it's basically he says something like life will bring you exactly what you need. You know, so I think life does bring people brings us exactly what we need. And then Dan here says, you know, hello, it is what it is. We can either enjoy or suffer, and actually suffering, you know, just like happiness is a decision. And then there's also this other quote by Miguel Ruiz that he says, you're right, love doesn't exist. And that's a good one. We open our hearts and we become vulnerable, you know. So it's just, you know, we were meant to be happy, we were meant to enjoy life. So I'm gonna end the video. No matter how hard the journey gets, we should never give up on ourselves, man, because this, you know, that's what it is, man. It's about overcoming. It's about loving ourselves, man. You know, I always say that, and that's what Miguel Ruiz also says. I encourage people, and you know, and I do that too, you know, and I try to practice that myself to you know, love ourselves, man, because life is fucking strange, man. Oh shit, oh, almost busted my ass. All right, I'm gonna end the video. I hope everybody has I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day.